Hey guys, welcome to the Real Results Show, where we feature real health coaches and health practitioners getting real health results for their clients and themselves. As always, I'm your host, Brendan Vermeyer. I'm a clinical advisor for FDN, and I'm the director of our tribe's awesome association, where we support our community with ongoing education regarding a variety of clinical and business building topics. So this week, I'm really excited to have one of my best friends, Kelsey Koehler, on the show. So Kelsey actually completed the FDN course back in 2014 and has been successfully practicing FDN and really a great ambassador for FDN ever since. So Kelsey, welcome to the show, my friend.
Thank you, Brendan, making me blush, but I appreciate it.
I try. Some might say you're my work wife or whatever, and I'm excited to have you on tonight. We had John Parker on a while back, so this is like round 2,
Yeah, love JP.
Whew. So what are we talking about tonight, Kelsey? I know, we on this Real Results Show, it's always fun hearing people's background and what brought them to the FDN community and whatnot. But now we're kind of changing up a little bit, where we're also talking about different subjects that are relevant. So like last week, I was talking to Chad about like men's brain health, which was super cool. But what are we talking about with you tonight, Kelsey?
So tonight I kind of wanted to cover just the working with MDs and how you can do that as an FDN. I've worked with an MD in office where we did like blood panels, and they would let me go through the blood panels with the client and kind of just tell them what supplements and what dietary advice I would give. But now I'm in the process of opening my own company to be able to do that as well. And I have an MD on staff for that. So I guess we can just kind of cover that.
Absolutely. And what I think is really cool about the FDN credential is, even though a lot of we all go through the same initial training with the FDN certification course. But what's so cool is we all have different backgrounds of what brought us here, but then also what we choose to do with that FDN credential. And the nice thing is, a rising tide raises all ships. There's no scarcity of people that need help. So
Right.
What we can do with our businesses, using FDN is really pretty amazing. So why don't we start by, I'd love to hear what brought you to FDN, and then we'll take it from there.
Sure. So my undergrad is in dietetics, and so that was my original path, was to be a dietitian and to study just, I guess, basic nutrition. I got really frustrated my junior year just with the materials they were teaching. Like, it just didn't make sense, and you could tell it was all very outdated. I actually finished my degree, and then when I was pregnant, I actually found Reed on Sean Croxton. Sean Croxton's podcast. He had Reed on there, and Reed was just talking about, the FDN health model and metabolic chaos. And I was like, this makes so much more sense than anything I ever took in my undergrad. So I did the FDN course and I passed. And then I decided I wanted to do more as far as furthering my education. So I got a master's in functional medicine and clinical nutrition as well. But I've noticed that people actually recognize the FDN certification a little bit more than even my master's, because a lot of people don't really know what functional medicine is. But when I explain to them what my FDN credentials are and how I'm able to order lab testing and then interpret those lab testing for my clients, people are really excited to hear about that. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And give a shout out to everybody listening and watching. I see a few of you guys out there, Alexander, Elizabeth, Tom. I see you guys. Wanted to say hey real quick. But you're so right. I think first off, what you said about, hearing what Reed had to say with the FDN model, the holistic model, metabolic chaos, like it just makes a lot more sense. And that's where, like, when I really first got into all this, I really kind of thought like functional medicine and FDN were like the same thing. But the deeper I've gotten in, and literally I'm sitting at this major naturopathic convention that's going on this weekend here in Portland. And so I've interacted and met so many, integrative, functional, naturopathic, alternative practitioners. And really what I found is there isn't anything like FDN in the sense that it brings it all together, unlike anything else I've seen. We've got the holistic health coaching model, but then also the clinical, the laboratory, the objective data. And there's not really anything else that brings it all together, but more importantly, in a system that is sequential, methodical, and reproducible, right? So I think what you said is really true, where people are really starting to catch on that the FDN model is unlike anything else, and it works extremely well. So awesome.
Well,
So
even like,
then,
like
oh, go
you
ahead.
and I both started at Lifetime, and
Yeah.
Lifetime's trying to make, I guess functional medicine or, those kind of terms relevant at their gym. They're trying to do labs and they're trying to do supplements and all that kind of stuff, but they don't really have the structure or the education behind it like FDN does. So
Yeah, yeah. And Dr. Brian Walsh, one of my mentors, is the genius who created their program. But I think really they need more professionals that really know this. I think they need FDNs in
yeah,
their clubs, to be honest.
yeah, if they could put their trainers through FDN, it'd be great because their labs are
Yeah.
awesome. Their lab panels are amazing.
Oh, totally. Yeah. I've been working on that, but they're not listening to me yet. And I just said that live, so that's fine. Um, but I really admire what you've done because I know you were working in a clinic. They do IV and all sorts of other things, medical doctor. So tell us a little bit about that, because that is something like, for example, with the Institute of Functional Medicine, and then they have their kind of sister school, the Functional Medicine Coaching Academy, which, I've hosted them and stuff for. But what they're trying to do is have, their physicians that are trained in functional medicine, and then kind of couple them with the coaches that have gone through their coaching academy. And that's the thing of FDNs, is we're kind of this hybrid professional that sort of does all the above in a way. But that's the thing, a lot of FDNs do, they might work in other doctors' clinics. And so I'd love to hear you tell us how you did that, how that's gone for you, and obviously leading you, it obviously went well, because here you are opening your own place.
Well, the first day that I started working at the other clinic that I'm no longer at, I walked in and I said, okay, look, I'm going to have my own clinic someday. I just want to be upfront about that. And so I was very upfront and honest with them about my intentions, and they were still willing to work with me and let me be there. And so essentially how it would work is we had an MD on staff, and he was the medical director. And so he basically was the liability clause as far as like making sure everything's done correctly on the medical end with insurance and billing. And then obviously, like if anyone had a serious disease, like I don't treat and diagnose anything, so I'm not touching that stuff. But basically what he would do is he would go over the panels and make sure everybody was healthy in a sense that they aren't dying. And then he would let me go over the panels as a functional nutritionist or an FDN and kind of give my recommendations to the client as far as like what dietary changes I would make. If they're hypothyroid, we would do like an autoimmune type diet, and we put them on a bunch of different supplements. And then, if he needed to put them on prescriptions, like for armor thyroid and stuff like that, he would work with me to do that. We also do HRT. So that's something that I'm really interested in, is bioidentical hormones and peptides. I'm sure if you listen to Ben Greenfield's podcast, you know all about that stuff. So kind of the function of my practice now for the MD is it's my practice. I own it. But he does all of the physicals. So obviously the physicals are something I cannot legally touch, and I'm not going to. And then he does the prescriptions for like HRT and peptides. So we're not really at a place where we're open officially yet. But he was an OB originally, and he was just one of my friends, honestly, that we met. And I was like, hey, would you be interested in working with me? And this is kind of what I want to do. And him being an OB, he already had the experience with hormones, and he was comfortable, writing the prescriptions for that. So that's kind of just how that relationship blossomed into what it is.
And that's, I think, a big thing is, I don't know, I don't want to go on a tangent, but, in modern society, a lot of people kind of get offended easily or whatever. And I don't want to go into that, but, the point being, there's room for everybody. And that's something, I'm kind of a walking soapbox, and everybody knows that. But I don't like it when people and professionals are getting caught up in like scarcity mindset, and they feel like, they feel threatened or somebody's stepping on their toes. Because here's the reality is there are millions upon millions of people suffering every single day from chronic lifestyle and environmental induced illnesses. And I think we need to stop being so easily offended and be working together, because we
Right.
need the medical doctors, we need naturopathic doctors, we need chiropractors, dietitians, FDNs. There's room for all of us. There are
Right.
more sick people than there are of us, by exponentially so. And this is the beauty of what happens when those professionals can come together. You might have that conventional medical doctor, and hey, make sure nobody dies, please.
Yes.
But in all seriousness, providing that proper medical oversight. And then also too, like even in my business, I've got an intern practitioner and then a health coach to help me out. And I'm even probably going to get my own, medical director as well, because it takes an army with these people. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh, I absolutely agree. I mean, there's even things that I don't know anything about. Like I know them terminology wise, like Wim Hof fire breathing. Like I know that's something I want to learn, and I know the meditation and all that stuff is good. I just don't really know very much about it. So I found somebody locally. His name's Tyler, and he's all like he went with Wim Hof over to Spain and all that kind of stuff. He knows his stuff, and so I just asked him, can we have a relationship where you're on my website and all your bios on there. There's links to schedule with you, and then he's on my site, but I technically only make a small percentage off of what he sells on my site. So there's
Mm-hmm.
not very much overhead, and I have a collaboration. I have 4 trainers, 2 MDs, and then I have Tyler, and then I have 2 other people that do kind of like a mental mindset, spiritual side of everything.
Mm-hmm.
We all kind of just work together like a family. Like you said, I mean, there's plenty of room for everybody. We're not trying to compete with each other. We all have different roles. So it works really well.
Yeah, I love that. And, that's, again, it's holistic health is just absolutely exploding these days. It's so exciting to be in this industry at this point in kind of human evolution, because everybody's tired of being sick and tired, and we're tired of just popping synthetic drugs all the time, that it's not fixing the root cause, blah, 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 blah. But also it makes no sense, like if we just use a little bit of logic in, why are we trying to treat a chronic disease epidemic that is like 95% lifestyle and environmental, caused.
Right.
So clearly that's where the lifestyle environmental intervention is really going to be working wonders. And there's obviously a time and a place for drugs and surgery. I would never say otherwise, but that's the beauty of, okay, great, the meditation, or even psychology and psychologists, like that's what the holistic health field is all about. Is we need to bring all the modalities together to be able to properly serve that beautifully complex client patient that's sitting across from us.
Yeah, and I think the key to that is really just finding people that have the same vision. I mean, everybody in my company, or whatever you want to call it, are people that I can trust with my information, people that I know aren't going to go behind my back, and I know they're going to treat their clients with respect and be on time and all those kind of things. So I think if you can find, an MD and a couple other people that are like that and like-minded, I mean, you really can have something powerful. It's just finding the right people.
Totally. You got to find those like-minded people. So speaking of, I'd love to hear you say a little bit about how your experience has been. You've been a graduated FDN for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd love to hear your experience as an FDN practitioner, because, we're not just a school, a certification course, but we're also a hell of a community. I'd love to hear you say what your experience with the community has been like.
So 2 of my best friends are FDNs, and that would be you and JP. We really are like a family. Like I feel closer to the 2 of you in the small amount that we've spent together. I mean, JP I've only really seen once. I guess you have seen twice in person, maybe. Is it twice?
We're just that tight.
Yeah.
I don't know, something like that.
But yeah, but even
Twice.
like Brandy's up in Canada, and I mean, we'll have little conversations in between. She's training me on something, and then we'll talk about something else, and we'll just talk about being moms and things. And I mean, everybody that I work with within FDN and I've had conversations with, everybody is so nice and loving and kind, and the energy is always encouraging and supportive. And so that's hard to find, especially in the, the fitness and wellness world. Like, what it's like being a trainer and stuff like that sometimes. I mean, they're usually exhausted and short-tempered, and stuff like that. I've been there. I know what it's like.
Yeah,
Um,
we all have.
yeah, it's just like once you have that group of people around you that really just believe the same thing and are fighting for just helping people. I mean, that's why
Right.
you're in it. That's why I'm in it. That's why JP does it, is because we all really just care about helping people more than anything. And I think that's when you're successful, when you make it not about the money and about helping people, but in a reasonable way, then you really can help the most amount of people.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And I think that's the FDN community. It feels like home. Everybody. It's just instant vibe tribe, and that's what's been fun with this Real Results show, is getting to interview so many of my FDN friends or people I haven't ever talked to. And even though I've never spoken to them in my life, other than maybe like Facebook when I answer their questions, but then it's just an instant, organic, vibey conversation of two like-minded people. And, I think, as you said too, like, we've got to keep our heads and hearts in the right place and keep it focused on helping people. And, you mentioned lifetime and personal training life. And it's like, yeah, I remember day one of personal training certification. I'm sitting in, the lifetime in Omaha, and, they're asking like, okay, how are you going to be successful or whatever? And my answer was, well, I believe that if I take care of my clients to the best of my abilities and really give them the best service possible, the numbers will take care of themselves. That's what I said. That's been my attitude for the past decade. And that's true. And, anybody can be salesy and make a quick buck, but if you're really trying to make an impact, you got to keep your head focused on helping people. And I feel like that at its core is what FDN really is.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, even if you talk to Reed, that's what Reed wanted and envisioned for FDN in the beginning, was really just to help as many people as possible control their own health. And that's kind of what this is about. It's not really about like us making money as FDNs or us having a platform or us having X amount of Instagram followers or whatever. It's about like all those people that we actually help. And, they send us those text messages like, hey, I lost that weight today, or I finally feel, my brain fog's gone, or my thyroid levels came back normal. Those are the kind of things those are worth more than any amount of money anybody could give me. And I feel like that's what a lot of the FDN community is like. So, in my experience.
Oh, absolutely. Well, and it's like Reed always likes to say, we don't medicate, we educate, because I already said it. As far as the majority of chronic disease is really lifestyle and environmental induced, and I say this basically every single week on this show. But the word doctor originally is a Latin word that means to teach. I don't feel that our current healthcare system is an educational model, and what we need and that's why FDN, we do what we do, where we are teaching, we are empowering the client on what they can do to take their health back into their own hands,
Right.
Through more of a self-treatment with lifestyle, environment, supplementation as needed, with diet, rest, exercise, supplementation, stress reduction. And no one else is putting it all together that way. And I think that's really what's setting us apart.
Yeah, and I think when you approach like an MD or like a chiropractor or somebody that you want to work with, I think that if you come to them with that as your goal, is like, hey, this is my education background, this is what I can do, this is how I can help people in your practice, and you bring that to them and just say, I'm not trying to step on your toes as a doctor, I'm not trying to treat and diagnose, I just want to help people, and this is how I do it. And you show them, like, here's my client A, and here's their results. Here's my client B, and here's their results, and maybe we can try it out. And that's kind of how I approached it, is I was like, we could do a 90-day trial period, and you could pay me commission only. And that's how I did it. And it worked out really well for me. I made more on that one day a week than I did sometimes the whole week combined. So, I mean, I only did it one day a week too. So it was flexible as far as that goes.
It's funny is I hate this phrase, but I'm going to say it. But the proof is in the pudding, right? It's like and that's why we call it the Real Results show. Is the results speak for themselves, and that's the thing. You mentioned going to school and kind of the dietetics and then your master's. it was the same thing for me. I was working full time as a trainer and nutrition dude, while going to school full time. And yeah, I was in kind of the dietetics, pre-med sort of pipeline. But I remember sitting there in general chemistry, and I was calculating the energy of a photon, converting it to joules, calculated to the 10th decimal point. And if you're off by even that single decimal point, you get the question wrong. And I'm like, what the hell am I doing? Like, I want to help people, not calculate the energy of photons and get an F in this class. So it's just, to me, it was so silly. They're not teaching this stuff in school, really. I think the best thing would be like naturopathic medical school. And of course, that's, this 8-year commitment, hundreds and thousands of dollars. And so it just wasn't practical. And even then, this industry, we're evolving so quickly, our technology, our learning. So yeah, just the FDN, it kind of fits that needs gap that we all have.
Especially with the intake forms and things like that, because I started using a system called Practice Better, and I don't know if you've heard of it. You probably know what it is. But I've been putting all my protocols together in Practice Better, and I've been able to easily transition them because FDN had all those intake forms. I basically converted those intake forms into what I use now on Practice Better. And those kind of things take a lot of time and a lot of effort. And so it's just nice to have, like the legal document already done and the intake forms already done. And you just kind of adjust the protocol as you go with each person. So it's really been cool to have that background too.
Oh, totally. I started with Practice Better. Then I was using Healthy for a while, and now I'm switching over to, I've been using Biomedical, but yeah, but that's part of the beauty with FDN is, when somebody goes through the initial certification, we're teaching them everything they know to basically hit the ground running upon graduation. Now, obviously, it's no small undertaking, and it's not like people graduate and they're instantly successful and having booming practices or whatever. It takes time, which is obviously where the AFDNP comes in, and supporting our graduates through the medical director program, through the AFDNP, with the ongoing business and clinical education. But my point being is, even the basic training that we all go through, it's a kind of done for you model, to be honest. It's taking a lot of science and complex information and really boiling it down to a simple to understand, in the sense that we're taking complex physiology and teaching it in ways like, oh, well, that makes a lot of sense. And it reads really good at that. But, providing the terms of service, the legal documentation, the intake forms, we're literally teaching a reproducible model.
Right.
Because we want that FDN to be able to graduate and immediately start helping people. And if they want to advance their education, great. That's what all of our level 2 curriculum is for.
Oh. Yeah, the advanced course.
Just a teaser.
Do I get VIP access? No, I'm just kidding. And the advanced courses are really cool too. As far as like the blood chemistry course, like that was probably my favorite advanced course so far, because you get that chart that you can put their blood levels in. And that was really cool to me. I mean, I really appreciated that as an FDN grad. But I wanted to throw in a comment. I mean, I graduated in like 2014 or 15. I don't really remember. And it's now 2019. And I'm just now getting to the point where I have the practice that I envision. And so to other FDNs who are recently graduated or maybe just a couple years in, like it takes a long time to build that up. And I don't want people to get discouraged, because it took me a long time too.
Yeah, I am glad that you mentioned that, because obviously on the Real Results Show, we love to highlight. It's kind of like Instagram. It's the running highlight reel, and it doesn't show the day-to-day, the struggles, the ups and downs, and that's kind of part of it too. Again, why the AFDNP is so crucial is you can have the most altruistic, genuine heart. You want to help people. You could be brilliant scientifically, but I mean, if you're going into business by yourself as an entrepreneur and you don't know anything about business, that's a whole other game. And that's the thing that I think most of us run into and at times struggle with is, we got into this to help people, not necessarily like build a business or learn business. I know that's how it was for me.
Yeah.
You know, and shoot, like I have been away from, you know, the corporate industry for 5 years, but it's really only been in the past 2 years that I've started really, you know, now everybody's like, what did you do? And it's like, well, I mean, let me
I don't really know. I
teach
did
you.
a bunch of stuff and eventually one stuck. That's kind of how it works.
Yeah, well, yeah. You keep following your heart, do what feels right, you know, and never shut up about what you feel very passionate about.
Yeah. And I mean, people like Jen too are really helpful because she created that course. I don't know a whole lot about it, but her business course would be really helpful too for people that have questions or trouble setting up the business side of things. That stuff's really helpful to watch and look for as well.
Absolutely. I mean, we really just have this wealth. It's this wealth of collective consciousness with the AFDNP and our graduate group on. And that's what's scary about it is like every day we make it more and more robust. And I mean, I can't give away any secrets, but even just what we have planned out for the rest of 2019 and then in 2020, there's nothing else like it. So I'm excited to see FDN
Especially
really
if you're involved.
saving the world. Yeah, well, you know, and I have to say, you said the blood chemistry was your favorite advanced course. That's because you haven't done the organic acid course yet, but you're coming to the conference, right?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think we're roommates, so of course you're coming to the conference, but
probably. I'm excited about the conference. The conference was so much fun last year. I mean, I was exhausted because I felt like, did we go to bed early? Because we didn't really do anything. We would go to bed at like 9, but I was still exhausted because of all the information that we take in all day.
Yeah, I mean, it was just excitement overload for all 400 of us that were packed in there. So, and this year, Hard Rock Hotel. So to everybody watching, keep in mind, you know, if you're watching, you're probably intrigued to some degree about this FDN stuff. I invite you, come to the conference. First off, San Diego, November 1 through 3. Get away from Windsor, hang out in San Diego at the Hard Rock. That's excuse enough.
Right.
But you don't have to be an FDN to attend the FDN conference. We have a lot of people come to decide, is this the right fit for me? And there's no better way to feel it out than to immerse yourself in the dead center of our community.
Right.
So I highly encourage you all to consider come hang out with Kelsey and I at the conference.
Watch us crash the scooters, right?
Right. That was you. I don't know.
Hey, it was my first time, okay?
It's all good. So Kelsey, before we start wrapping up, where can people learn more about you or find you to learn more about you and your work?
So probably my Instagram, it's Kelsey_Koehler, and then I guess they can find that on Facebook or something. That'd be probably the best place to find me. Or they can email me through the FDN support email.
It's true. It's true that. Very good. Very good. And so then also too, guys, just know, some of you already did, I saw it earlier, but you can actually, if you're interested in learning more about the FDN course, to get better results for yourself, your loved ones, or going into business and taking on clients, drop the word aspiring in the chat box below to get more information. You can always set up an appointment with the course counselor as well. I love our course counselors. They're great girls, love them to death. So you can always go to functionaldiagnosticnutrition.com/Facebook Live if you want to enroll in the course, or functionaldiagnosticnutrition.com/counselor if you just want to talk to a counselor. Or again, one more time, aspiring, drop it in the chat box to get more information. So Kelsey, one of my besties, one of my good friends, work wife. I love you too, girl. And we will definitely be seeing each other in November, hopefully sooner. But thank you so much for joining me tonight, because you really are doing amazing work. And I'm so excited that now you're opening your own place. It's time. You're ready.
Thank you. I'm scared. I'm terrified.
That means you're moving in the right direction. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I just want you and JP to move down here now. It'd be great.
Can we make a commune in Colorado though?
I'm okay with that. We can do that.
All right.
Jen will come. She'll come.
That'll be like our 5 year. Like we'll within 5 years we'll have a FDN commune in Colorado.
Yeah, we can just all work out together and cook healthy food together and take all our pills or supplements.
I can't think of a better life. It'll be good.
I can't either.
Well, awesome. Enjoy your night. I'm sure you and I will talk soon because,
Okay.
we're tight like that. But thanks for sharing your knowledge, your experience, and your awesome energy. It really means the
Yeah.
world.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm always glad to be on here with you.
Yeah. Much love, my friend.
Have fun in Portland.
Will do. See you
All right.
guys, everybody
Bye.
watching. Bye.